This video goes over an incident that happened in 2011 when an issue of the weekly newspaper, Sixto Pode, roughly the sixth power, was banned for insulting women. Newspapers are widely read in Venezuela. There are a lot of them. And women in particular were very happy with what had been going on in Venezuela since Hugo Chavez took over. Their rights had been expanded. They were achieving positions of some authority in society, and they were very, very pleased. Talk for a minute about the U.S. State Department. They have country reports on human rights practices around the world. The State Department issues reports for 196 nations, and they issued a report covering human rights issues and practices for 2011. They issued that report in 2012. And here's what they had to say about the incident that I'm going to talk about. They referred to the incident as the government engaging in direct press censorship, major charge. And what happened, what they claimed, the State Department cited the fact that the officials were detained and an arrest warrant was issued for the newspaper's editor. And the court ordered the newspaper to stop publishing on August 21st. That sounds pretty definite, that they were going to stop publishing. It implies that maybe this was going to be like permanent. So, what's this all about? Well, Venezuela has 5 independent branches of government, and the heads of 4 of those independent branches are headed by women. You have President Chavez in the middle of this picture, flanked by the heads of the other 4 independent branches. And they were all held by women. The Human Rights Defender, the National Assembly President, the Supreme Court President, the National Electoral Council President. They were all women. And again, as I mentioned, women were very pleased with the advances that they had made in society and in the government as a result during the presidency of Hugo Chavez. So, what did the newspaper do? Well, on their front page of August 20th, 2011, they ran a doctored photo montage of 6 prominent female officials dressed as dancers in a brothel, directed by Mr. Chavez. And the image included the 4 heads of government, the Supreme Court President, Electoral Council President, National Assembly President, Human Rights Defender. They're all in this picture. So it was Venezuelan women who got outraged. They were simply outraged, and they marched to the district attorney's office in Caracas, demanding that the action be taken against the newspaper for having engaged in symbolic violence against women. National Assembly member Maria Leon, an outspoken women's rights advocate, demanded an investigation of the newspaper for violating Venezuela's law on social responsibility, prohibits the publication of hateful, discriminatory, and false information. The president of the Supreme Court, who was in that picture, in that photo montage, she came out and said that the judiciary was going to take measures against the paper. And a judge down the line issued a temporary injunction that ordered the newspaper to cease distribution of that one issue, the August 20th issue, while the prosecutors investigated the case. As part of the investigation, the president of the newspaper was arrest warrants were sworn out for him and for the paper's director. She came in and voluntarily, and she was held for a couple of days and released. He refused to surrender, and they had to go and find him and arrest him, and so they imprisoned him for a couple months, but finally released him as well. So what happened was on August 28th, just before they were to go to press with their next weekly issue, the court revoked the suspension, which allowed the paper to continue publication on the condition that it cease publishing content that's degrading to the female gender. So what the court decided was that all copies of that one issue were ordered withdrawn, but that the newspaper could go on publishing. Now there's another newspaper, Correo Orinoco, which is partially funded or entirely funded by the government. And they ran an article about this incident, and they said, you know what? this recent decision to allow the paper to continue its operations contradicts this idea that Chavez has been clamping down on freedom of expression. There was that one issue that was ordered withdrawn, but the paper was allowed to go on publishing, which, the tone of the State Department's message was it was ordered to stop publishing. And that's not, in fact, what happened. The paper was allowed to go on publishing. So this incident is a case study that has been described in on the Venezuela Readers blog, and it can be accessed there. And all the documentation for this talk is included in a write-up on the blog.